Hello writers, and welcome to English 1101 and English 1102. That's Composition 1 and Composition 2, depending on what section you're in. My name is Ben Jackson. I'm going to be your professor this semester, so apologies that you are stuck with me for a little bit, but I think we're going to have a good semester. I have lots of interesting things that students in previous semesters have told me they thought was interesting as well, so I think we're going to be in pretty good shape here. What this video is just a quick introduction to both me, a little bit about the course, and ways to find your way around the course in Folio and some of the other platforms that we will be using for you to do your work. Almost all of the work you're going to do, reading, discussion, comments, quizzes, that kind of stuff, are going to be done through Perusall, which you will link through Folio. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. I'm going to show you where to find your assignments, how to do all of that stuff so that you know how. I do want you to know that you do have a couple of required things that you will need for the course. They should be set up for you in what's called Day 1 access so that you can right away access these things. You're going to have a textbook, and for all of my online courses and all of my 1101 courses, whether or not they are in person or online, you're going to have what's called a critic subscription. This is an online peer review platform. For my in-person 1102 section, you don't have to buy that. That won't be there for you. But for everyone else, you will need that critic subscription. That should also be in your Day 1 access. And what that means is that you should be able to use your financial aid right off the bat. My understanding is to make that purchase. You also will have the option to go in and use a credit card in the sites to make the purchase of the books. Please do not buy a physical copy of your textbooks, okay? You're going to have digital access to them in Perusall. You'll note that, and we'll go through this a little bit more over the course of the week, but that 40% of your grade is showing up and doing the work, doing your homework, doing your drafts, that kind of stuff. 40%, almost half of your grade. The way that I'm able to monitor that is that I can see that you're doing the readings, that kind of stuff, through Perusall. I want you to know right off the bat that I can see that. I do see that. That's where your grade's going to come in. For that you're actually doing the work, and conversely, not doing the work is going to not work out so well for you there. But please, please, please do the work. No student has ever failed any of my classes for the quality of their writing. If you show up, you do the work, you don't cheat, you're going to get the credit that you need. Okay. So this allows me to keep an eye on it in Perusall. But what it also does, and what's more important than that, is that it's a platform that fosters online conversation between you and the course, especially for folks who are online. I did a lot of my undergraduate degree online, and that can feel pretty isolating, right? This will help you converse in the text, in places where in the texts that you read, in videos that you watch, any of that, in places where you have observations, points that you want to make, questions you want to ask, things that you don't understand. Perusall allows you to do that right in line, and that's going to be a significant portion of the class. So for all of my sections, all of your readings and stuff, unless I tell you differently for a specific assignment, they're going to be through Perusall, and I'll show you how to find that. Don't worry if that doesn't mean anything to you today. But the point of all of that is, please don't go out and buy a physical copy of the book. You're still going to need the digital copy, so you'll have to return that one and get it. And do let me know if you have any questions. And with that, let's take a look. Actually, let me tell you a little bit about me, and then we'll take a look at Folio. So again, my name is Ben Jackson. It is totally fine for you to call me Ben. I have a Master's of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from Emerson College, and I have worked professionally as a writer, ghostwriter, podcast producer. I've worked in the publishing business. I had a whole career in the publishing industry and video game industry before I came into academia and got my graduate degree. This is my third year here at Georgia Southern. Prior to that, I taught at Emerson College in Boston. You're getting the same type of courses, the same material, same information that they got. You are taking a course that puts you in the context of writers and scholars in the field of English, in the field of rhetoric, and in the area of your discipline that goes all the way back to the beginning of recorded history as people start writing things down, and will go all the way forward into the future until people stop writing about whatever the thing is that you're writing about. And I want you to think of yourselves now as scholars. And some of the things we're going to be working on this semester, we'll be doing work to help you transition from writing just about the work of other writers, like a book report, that kind of stuff, and instead taking your ideas, your arguments, the things that you are interested in and caring about, and using the work of other writers and experts effectively to advance your own ideas, arguments, that kind of stuff. So now other writers become tools for you rather than just the end goal of things for you to look at. Sound good? So a little bit more about me. Like I said, I was in Boston. I've been down here in Savannah for about 3 years. Let's see, I have a dog, Blanche. If you come into campus, you may see her. Sometimes she'll make an appearance in the videos as well. I adopted her just at the end of last semester, and she's pretty great. I do have a daughter, Emma, who is now 23 and out of college herself, but has a degree in criminology from Framingham State University in Massachusetts. She is also somehow a big Maroon 5 fan, so I have failed as a father, but it makes her happy. Aside from that, like I said, I've worked as a ghostwriter. That means people hire me to write things in their names. I've written congressional testimony, celebrity memoirs, speeches, all sorts of other stuff that people hire me to do. So I've worked as a professional writer. I also write under my own name. I've published both fiction and nonfiction in places like the Boston Globe, New York Times, Consequence, Forum, Page Turner Magazine, a bunch of other places. So if you have any questions along the way about what the life of a professional writer looks like or what the writing profession can be, I'm very, very happy to talk to you about that, both in class time and in office hours or my own personal time or your own personal time. I'm always happy to answer questions for that. Like I said, I also worked in the video game industry. I worked as a writer for a company called Disruptor Beam. That is no longer around, but they had games in big franchises like Star Trek and The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. And I wrote in those games. So again, if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. Okay, so I want to take you on a quick tour of the Folio course as it's set up. There will be more information that populates for each of your courses by the time it opens, but I'm just going to give you the basics here today. When you log into Folio, you'll see I'm logged in as a student here, but yours should look something similar to this. If I was as a professor, it would look a little bit different. You should see any semesters that you've been involved in up here. If you were to scroll down, you might see over here something along the lines of Day 1 Access, which is where you can get your stuff for the courses, all of that good stuff. And you'll see here all of the courses you're enrolled in that your professors have activated for you. You see I haven't actually activated any of these yet because the semester hasn't started, but you'll see those before the semester starts. We're going to look at just one course. The basic setup is going to be the same for everybody. So you'll find your course in these particular things. Okay, so let's just look at English 1102, section 11F. Here you have English 1102 is the course, the section 11F. Each of you has your own section. That's your class. Okay, so let's just click in there, but you'll find your own and it'll be in there. And you'll have something that will look like this. Here's your Day 1 Access, right? So if you click in Day 1 Access, that should allow you to get a code for perusal to get the book, a code for Critic or a Critic subscription to have that taken care of. And I believe, my understanding is that allows you to use your financial aid refunds to do those purchases directly rather than having to use a credit card. I'm not 100% on that. And if you have questions about that, you might have to ask the registrar or the bookstore. I don't access that directly, but please do make sure that you do that either this way or through Critic or Perusal, getting your textbook and your Critic subscription set up right away. That way you'll be able to to participate fully in the course. Okay, so that's important stuff. Okay, so when you log in, you're going to see up at the top, it'll confirm just the course that you're in. If you have folio messages, and I will not use folio messages very often to communicate with you, you'll get notifications and stuff that way, but I will generally use Gmail, mainly because the way that this sorts messages, I very rarely see them when I get them back, right? So if you want to reach me, you can do that most effectively through email, through your Georgia Southern email account, not through folio messages. You'll see notifications that you have up here like, hey, you have a due date coming up on this assignment. You click in there and you'll see that, right? If there are chat messages, let's say that you are in a group with your peers and you're using chat through Folio, you can do that here. Again, for this communication stuff, I recommend using Gmail. It's going to work way better for you, but it's there if you want it. And then across the top, you'll see a bunch of stuff. And this, I believe, will look the same for you as a student as it does for me. And we'll go through some of that. But before, I just want to go through the front page here. Here you will see announcements. This is super important. This is how I will communicate with the class as a whole on an ongoing basis. And that could be anything from, here's some more information about an assignment. Hey, I've popped in an extra credit thing for you to do. There's an event happening on one of the campuses that you're welcome to participate in, or a virtual event that you can go to. Oh no, my car broke down on the way to school and I'm going to be late. All of that stuff will post in there, okay? So I will communicate with the course regularly through here. It's really important that you are paying attention to this on a regular basis, several times a week that you're checking. I will say also that you should set up the Pulse app if you have not already done that. I know a lot of professors aren't really clear on how to use it. It is a little counterintuitive for many of us, but the Pulse app is an app that will give you reminders for anything that has a due date and time, any assignment that has a due date and time, any pushed announcements, that kind of stuff. For every assignment I give you, I put in a due date and time for it, so it should show up in your Pulse app, okay? So you're going to want to get that. I will also push announcements out there to the best of my ability to do that, okay? So really important that you stay on top of this. Once I post it, you're responsible for knowing it. So please, please, please make sure that you pay attention to that there, okay? Okay. So also over here, you will see a calendar. You'll notice that in this course, I have already put in a couple of assignments just to show this here, right? So on your calendar, you will see upcoming events, things that will be due soon. Here you have a quick assignment in perusal due August 15th for this particular course, and some reading due August 16th for this particular course, okay? By clicking in these assignments, you will actually see more information about them, okay? And then I'll show you even more information in a minute about how to get that information. Okay, so that's all from the home page of the course. And if you ever want to go back to the home page of the course, you just click right up here where it says Fall 2025. If you ever want to get back to the Folio homepage where you see all of your courses, you can just click this Folio button up in the corner here, okay? And it takes you back to that. So let's go back into that particular course. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to pay lots of attention to is the Content button. This is where all of your assignments and that kind of stuff are going to be due, all right? So some information around here. You will see more stuff populating here, including the course syllabus for you, information about me, my office hours for your courses, that kind of stuff, how to contact me. All of that stuff will be filling in up here. So that will all be available to you all of the time. Then you'll see over here these modules. Okay, your table of contents at the top will just show you everything that's available. It'll walk you through. But each week you're going to get a module here. For the in-person classes, sometimes you'll have them for each day even. The online classes will be for each week. Okay? But they're clearly labeled where you click in them and they tell you what's due and when. Okay, so if I click in week one, for this particular course, you can see you have this assignment, Making the Most of Learning with Perusal. You see that it's due August 15th at 11:59 p.m. You also see that there is reading for week 1 that's due August 16th at 11:59 p.m. And I've also linked you to Critic so that you can click here and go to the site to enroll. And we're going to look at each of these things here first. Okay, so making the most of learning with Perusall. Let's click that. Okay, so when you click on that, you'll get something that looks like this. Now, this is a professor view. It will look what you have over here will look a little bit different, okay? But it won't allow me to show you the assignment in a student view, unfortunately. So I just want to show you this so you see. So you see that Perusall is here, okay? You'll be able to go back and see any of your courses. This button should exist for you there. Which use Perusall, and you'll also be able to go to the home page of the course where you'll see assignments, library, that kind of stuff. We'll go there in a minute. But what this is will help you understand how to use Perusall. Okay, it's going to give you some tasks to do to walk you through how to do that. It'll walk you through like how to make comments in the text, how you will navigate your way through assignments, all of that kind of stuff. Really important that you do this assignment and complete it on time, because this will help you understand how to make the most of of the course, but also how to actually do the stuff that you're going to need to do and get graded on, right? So please make sure that you are doing this. Okay, so everyone will have an assignment that looks like this. It might not look exactly like this, but it'll be the same idea in Perusall for you to navigate. Okay, so please make sure that you do that. Okay, let's go to the course home. You can see some of the stuff that's in here. Okay, you will see your assignment. So you'll see a tab that looks like this, Get Started, that will help walk you through how to do this. Now, this is, again, a professor view. It probably looks different for a student, right? The thing that you're really going to care about here is the library, which has all of your textbook, all of your reading assignments, stuff like that in there, and your assignments, things that are assigned to you for the course, okay? In the library, you will see a textbook. Usually this will actually be down at the bottom of the stuff that you're able to see here. For 1102, only, and you should see this directly in Perusall, it's the Little Seagull Handbook. I know that's a terrible name. I promise it's not a kid's book. It's actually a really, really useful handbook for you that will exist for you, not just in this course, but beyond this course, okay? For 1101, you will see rewriting how to do with, rewriting how to work with text, which is also a really good textbook that doesn't feel textbooky at all, that talks to you about how to work with the writings of other people. It's a core feature of the course. You do need to buy the textbook, okay? But here, when you do that, you'll have the option, this is still being approved for the course, but you'll have the option to either use a credit card to purchase it or to use a code from the bookstore to purchase it. That's what you get from day one access, is my understanding. And again, if you need help with that, please do contact the bookstore or the registrar's office. I don't have any information on how that works at all, other than it's there, okay? So for the purchasing of that stuff, they should be able to help you. Good. So you will see, again, at the course home, take it here, your assignments. When you click in your assignment for a particular, you'll click this in Folio and it'll take you directly to the assignment, or your assignments here, and you can pick the right one. So for reading week 1 for this course, you're going to have 2 articles to read, okay? And you see all of my instructions on this are right in here, okay? These instructions will also import into Folio for you, so you'll be able to see the instructions there in a bunch of places. The point is, once the instructions are there, you're responsible for them. So please make sure you do read them. This is a place where students who go wrong often go wrong because they haven't fully read the instructions for each assignment. All right, so please make sure you take the time to do that. I try to put in pretty detailed instructions for you, to make it clear what's expected of you and what you need to do, okay? So I do, in fact, put that stuff in. I, generally speaking, won't enable assignments to be visible to you until the week that they're due. I don't want you rushing ahead in the course. I want you staying with your peers, focusing on the things that are due that week, that kind of stuff. Also, sometimes I change my mind about what we're going to read, or something happens in the world that will change the focus of what we're doing that week, or maybe we'll have a visit from a librarian that will push stuff off, right? And by you guys running ahead, you might do work that you don't need to do. Okay, so I'm trying to keep you on a schedule here. So we're not going to open stuff up to you too far in advance. Deal? Okay, so that's a quick look at perusal. Now, when you do assignments in perusal, when you do the reading, I want you to know it does tell me how much of the thing that you've read and how much of, let's say I give you a video, how much of it is active watching, right? Did you actively watch it on the screen, or did you put it on and then open another tab and pay attention to that, right? It tells me that you're doing the work. And then you'll have some quizzes in here that will evaluate your understanding of the work. Also in the reading, you will be able to, and you'll see this in your Making the Most of Learning with Perusal, highlight texts and create comments based on them, and see everybody else's comments and interact with them. This is a fundamental part of the course. It is especially critical for the online courses, but it is true for all of us that will be able to do that. That you're going to need to mark things, put some commentary in, react to what other people have to say, and engage with them. That's where a lot of the learning happens for this course, and that's where a lot of your success or lack of success will come from. So we'll talk more about those expectations, but I do just want to point it out for you that those are going to be there for you. Okay, and so now we're back in Folio. And finally, I want you to be sure that you go ahead and click that critic button. If I were to do that for you right now, it wouldn't show you anything because you have to actually go ahead and enroll in critic. There will be a critic sort of starter assignment just to familiarize yourself with it. This is going to be your peer review platform. You should have this for 1101. You should have this pretty quick, or for 1102 rather. You're going to do peer review pretty quickly. You're going to have a memoir assignment coming up that you're only going to work a week or so on. For 1101, we're going to get in there pretty quickly too, a little bit later than that, but not much. So you should go ahead and get that taken care of basically right away. And again, that should be available in your day one access. And if it's not, check in with the bookstore and the registrar, and they will help you figure that out. But you can also right away just go ahead and use a credit or debit card in Critic to go ahead and make that purchase. So that's a quick tour of Folio and some of those platforms, accessing those platforms. You're going to get more from me about what you actually need to do here as far as your actual assignments, a little bit more about what's happening in the readings that you're doing as we move through the course. And particularly as we go about grading, I will show you how to find your grades, all of that kind of stuff. Once there's actually some stuff in there for you to look at, it would be, there's really nothing for me to show you there yet, so it won't help you very much. But I am always here for questions. Do feel free to reach out anytime. You'll see my office hours, and I will remind you all of when those office hours are. You can just pop on in, either virtually for my online classes or in person. If for whatever reason you can't make office hours, and remember, that's not just, oh, I don't feel like getting up for office hours, but you actually have a conflict, right? You can always I will always happy to make an appointment with you to chat. You can also always get me via email. Again, the best way to reach me is email, which is bjackson@georgiasouthern.edu, and I'll be happy to jump in and help with any questions. Really looking forward to working with you all. I've really loved teaching these courses here at Southern. Really smart, engaged students. The more engaged you are, the more you participate in the course, the better time you're going to have, and the better you'll do. And remember, you've got to get at least a C or better in the class. To get credit for it, you may as well just knock it out of the park this time, right? Because if you don't, you're just going to have to come back and do it again. And that seems like a waste of your time and money. But I promise you, I'm not a super hard grader. I am here to help you, that if you show up and come to class, do the work, and don't cheat, you're going to get the credit you need. Okay? So that's my commitment to you. I am going to help you. I am never going to waste your time. I am never going to make you feel stupid for asking a question. And then if you do those things, you're going to get the credit. So your commitment is to do those things, right? To engage with the course to do the best work that you can and to make it your own work. And we're going to have a great semester. So I'm looking forward to working with you, and I'll see you in the classrooms or on Folio.